Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. It is August 1st, 2023. It is 7 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. The prayer and the pledge will be with Alderwoman Haas. If everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge.
Bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, thank you for the wonderful day that you have given us. Thank you for bringing all of us together for this meeting tonight. Father, please bless our first responders, fire department, police department, ambulance service, and those workers who are out in this heat keeping our city beautiful. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item tonight is approve the minutes from the July 6th, 2023 public hearing and regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to presentations. Let's hop down here. Let's pull this around. So, each year we recognize a Citizen of the Year, and that is basically people in our community who have done exceptional things, whether for our individual residents, for the elderly, for the community at large. So this year we actually have two. So John Oakley, Tammy Sands, can you please both join me? I'm sure y'all were made well aware of this beforehand, right? That was the goal. So this is the Citizen of the Year award to both John Oakley and to Tammy Sands for teaching more than 3,000 students through U.S. Taekwondo Academy since 2006. Your dedication to teaching martial arts in this community for more than 30 years. You have imparted not just instruction in martial arts, but wisdom, discipline, and respect to your students. The city recognizes your dedication and commitment to helping them excel in their personal lives and in their academic careers. You are helping to grow the next generation of men and women to lead this community. So we want to tell you thank you. You each have one of our certificates, but on top of that, you're also receiving a key to the city. They do not work on the front door, so we want to thank you both for your service to both our community, both here in Laverne and throughout the Middle Tennessee area. So thank you both.
In the middle, sir.
We put Tammy in there.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job, guys. Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Tammy. And thank you, Mr. Dusty, for all your help with that. So they know who to blame now. Okay, moving on to our departmental reports. Police Department, Chief Hatcher.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman Haas. In front of you, you have the comparison report between July 22 and 23. A couple of things to note on the first line. The residential burglaries have substantially gone down, and also our robberies have gone down significantly. We have a few areas, the overdoses are still going up. Unfortunately, it's that time of the year. Doing everything we can to try and put some preventative measures in place, but people are going to do what they're going to do. Motor vehicle thefts are up just a little bit, and we're working on that. And we've got an increase in recoveries as well on the second page. All of the other stuff is pretty standard, evenly matched across the board. Any questions?
Chief, just one quick question for
Sure.
you. Have you or your staff noticed that the new LED lights are helping at all with visibility for y'all's patrolling and
It
crime
seems to be a
enforcement?
vast improvement, sir, across the board.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on to Fire Department, Chief Beasley.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman Haas. I hope that y'all have had the opportunity to review the monthly reports for July. I don't see anything out of the ordinary to report on. Y'all have any questions?
How goes Fire Station 41?
Fire Station 41, that's a great subject. We're back on track. My latest conversation with the contractor, so we should be back to a mid-May grand opening. So bricks are going up, the cinder blocks are going up faster than I anticipated. So it's nice to drive down Old Nashville Highway and see some progress.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Parks and Recreation, Mr. David McGowan.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman Haas. You guys have the parks numbers for the month. You can see 81 help desk tickets, 589 man-hours devoted to those. Upcoming events, August the 11th is our annual Howl at the Moon 5K. August 24th through the 26th will be our carnival this year. You see past events there, July 4th. Senior Center past events, Christmas in July, trip to Asuka. They have upcoming at Monell's on August the 16th. August 21st, we have 3 meetings, Senior Center Advisory at 4:30, Parks and Rec at 6, followed by the Greenway at 7. August the 11th, Howl at the Moon. As of today, we have right under 80 runners, so we're on good pace for that. Last year, we had a total of 180. 2021, we had 146, so hopefully we'll get that number up above 200 this year. On site, we'll have Smoothie King. They'll be giving sample smoothies to runners. The Fit 60 gym from Murfreesboro will also be on site. Race begins at 8 p.m. Road closes about 7:30. Starts at the park, comes down Murfreesboro Road, makes the horseshoe here at the City Hall complex, and back to the park. 12 age divisions. Awards given to the top 3 finishers in each age group, and top overall male and female. Registration $35 now through August the 10th, and $40 a day of the race. I think I have the carnival information. It will run Thursday and Friday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday from noon to 10 p.m. Armbands are $25. They are sold in 4-hour time slots on that Saturday from 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. Any questions?
Just to clarify, Dave, because we had a lot of confusion. Just elaborate a little bit on how that time slot works for those $25 armbands, so there's no confusion for folks that are watching at home.
And I have the press release with me that Ann sent out. So the armbands are available for unlimited rides and cost $25. They're good for one use and restricted to 2 sessions, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. They're not accepted from noon to 1 and from 5 to 6. So if you come at 3 o'clock, then you're only getting 2 hours worth of armband usage. So even if you buy it at 4 o'clock, you are getting 1, so the time cuts off then. So be diligent and get there at 1 o'clock. Get a full 4 hours in.
And from what I remember last year, the armband purchases, the line was very long, so,
Yeah.
yep.
Just, and this may pass over to Chief Hatcher, but for the Friday night and Saturday night, do we plan to have any extra police officers there? I know from last year's experience, it was extremely populated those nights.
We're going to do everything we can to get it staffed as best as we can.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Finance Department, Ms. Tanya.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman Haas. You have your financial summary. Just going to hit some highlights. In our general fund, our revenue exceeded expenses by $2.1 million. In our local sales tax, it was $3.4 million above budget and $1.1 million above our prior year. In our state street aid, our expenses exceeded revenue by $563,000. In stormwater, our expenses exceeded revenue by $57,000. In our water and sewer fund, our revenue exceeded expenses $7.5 million. On the second page, you'll see all the bank balances for all our funds. And the third page is our comparison to prior year.
Any questions? Thank you. And then last but not least, the water treatment plant, Mr. Dwayne, no, wait a minute, it's Danny.
I appreciate you trying, Mayor. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman Haas. I hope you've had the opportunity to review our monthly report. One thing I would like to reiterate is asking for y'all's assistance with the lead and copper sampling, and if you have the opportunity to reach out to anyone listed on the list that I handed out at the workshop, Vice Mayor, I appreciate you doing that Thursday. I know you guys are busy, but we appreciate all the help that we can get from that. Any questions?
Any word on the high service valve and high service motors? I know the
So-
motor has been on there for a little bit.
Yes, sir. So we are in contact with Eaton. There's some financial information that we're waiting on in order to get a PO. We're waiting on a quote to get them a PO so that they can complete the work, come back to do the troubleshooting of the VFD so that we can test the motor from the work that's been done by Wascom.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance 2023-17, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne fee schedule regarding the sewer rates and tap fees for the Blair Road Sewer Basin. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Haas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to new business. First reading ordinance 2023-18, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 general fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Our second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. First reading ordinance 2023-19, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 drug fund budget. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. First reading ordinance 2023-20, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 equitable sharing fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Our second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes. Moving on to 10, Resolution 2023-16, a resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to participate in the Public Entity Partners, Safety Partners Matching Grant program. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 11, motion to approve a sewer agreement with BRS Development LLC for the sewer line extension project for Arbor Ridge. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second from the Vice Mayor. I'll open it up.
Kyle, there's been a lot of discussion about this, and just wanted one more time before I cast my vote personally. With everything that we know about this is much better than the city trying to wait so they can get started. In your opinion, this is something that we need to get past and move on with.
Yes, in my opinion, it's an agreement that's good for the city, and it's only or mostly a benefit.
We have to, and I've mentioned this before, is we have to put our belief in our department heads, because they're the ones that run the city. They're the backbone. So I think it's good to ask the department heads.
Not a problem. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to appoint or remove board and committee members. We've got the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee. We've got one term vacant. We have one applicant, which is Hannah Baker. And that is appoint by me, confirmed by the board. So I'll appoint her to fill that vacancy. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Next, we're going to go over to discussion that we started at the workshop, and Miss Brenda's here. So this is the nonprofit donation request for the Laverne Housing Authority. Miss Brenda Bryan, if you'd like to come up to the podium.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask before I get started, as we discuss this, is the director of the Murfreesboro Housing Authority here?
I could not get in touch with Mr. Rowe.
Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, basically, I just want to say, first of all, thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to speak before you today. I apologize for not making that last meeting. I'm just getting back in the country from Israel, and I hurt my leg coming back from there. So at any rate, I'm here today, and I did have the opportunity to review the video on YouTube, so that prepared me in order to make sure that I answer the questions that you need. And at any rate, my name is Brenda Bryant, and I'm serve as the chairperson of the Laverne Housing Authority here. And a couple of things I think were what's the word for it? It wasn't clear. We're not trying to develop a model like the Murfreesboro Housing Authority. In research, what we did was we looked at all different types of models across the country, particularly in the state of Tennessee, and more specifically in Rutherford County. And so if we were to compare what we're trying to do in terms of building senior housing, and the most vulnerable populations, as we know right now, are children and the senior population. And so the whole focus, which is in the charter for the Laverne Housing Authority specifically says that the Housing Authority was established, its mission is to build senior housing for low-income people. And so that's what we've been focusing in on. And we understand that with Murfreesboro, that they do have a monopoly on the funds for the 202 and how that goes, and also the vouchers. That isn't even an issue. It should be on the table because we're more or less modeling after the Smyrna Housing Authority. And the Smyrna Housing Authority pretty much get their funding through tax credits, through THDA, and also through rural housing development, which I'm very familiar with. We have a ministry here in Laverne, Tennessee, and actually our biggest funder is THDA, so we have a first name basis with them, and also with rural housing, we're very knowledgeable about how that process works. So we're not looking at, number one, the model of the Murfreesboro Housing Department. So And I don't think anybody in this room can deny that there's a need for senior housing, okay? I know I had the opportunity to visit the one here in Laverne, and they were telling me that they have a 2-year waiting list. I had the opportunity to talk to the people in Smyrna. They have, I think, four complexes. One of them, it has a 2-year waiting list, and the other, they're not even taking applications at all. That's how bad it is. But the good news is that we have worked and I want to commend everybody that's on the Laverne Housing Authority Board. They work so hard, even in the midst of not being able to meet through COVID, even though we had 2 previous, and Barbara can attest to this, we had 2 previous chairpersons, and we could never find them. They would never call a meeting, so we finally talked to Bruce, and Bruce can testify to this also. So we finally, were able to elect a chair, and I served in that capacity, and my background is in housing. I've been involved in housing development since 1980, and when I did my senior field placement, worked for HUD for 7 years, worked for the bank, and I was over the entire mortgage department for First American Bank, which became AmSouth, which is now Regions Bank. So that's my background, is dealing with that. So that's why I had a lot of knowledge in terms of what type of funding that we can get and how we can establish the Laverne Housing Authority. So I wanted to make sure that I was here today to let you know, first and foremost, Mayor Cole, Vice Mayor No, and Alderman Hass, that the model that we're using is not the Murfreesboro model. We understand that is not a fit for Laverne, Tennessee, and that what we're trying to do is strictly to build senior housing, which is consistent with the charter that was created for that particular purpose. And like I said, I don't think anybody in here can deny that there is a desperate, desperate need for senior housing. And many of us, we're aging out right now, and we're going to need that senior housing. I'm 66 years old, so, it's time for all of us to begin to prepare for that time. And I think that we would do the citizens of Laverne a big disservice if we don't allow that to happen. And I found out even the complex here in Laverne, it's a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit, it's a nonprofit organization. Looked at how they got their funding, how they get the seed money. Again, like I say, the board has worked very diligently, very hard, in long hours, planning meetings, business meetings, to get this off the ground. And we need our 501c3 in order to get the necessary funding in order to go forth. So, any questions?
Well, one question I'll ask, because I can see some of them in the audience. Would anyone on the Housing Authority, any other members go ahead and stand up just so the board can see who all's here? Okay.
It's 5 members, but 2 of the members weren't able to come tonight. But I praise God for the 3 that came.
So I think for me and Miss Bryant had a conversation from last week. It seems like there was some miscommunication, some misunderstanding, if you will, about what our board is trying to accomplish. And with that being said, I'm 100% in agreement with you that we definitely need something. And as you so eloquently say, we're getting old. I'm right there with you. I know. But with that being said, I would have to turn to Mr. Bruce and ask him about this $750 as a donation to one of our boards. First of all, Bruce, is that legal?
Well, you've got to remember that this is technically not the city's board. They are their own independent, agency. The city does not run them. They don't report to the city. Basically, the only thing the city does is the mayor appoints the members to their board. But we don't run the city. They don't report to us. There's no relationship there. So from that standpoint, it's a separate entity. Now, as far as the donation of funds, you can donate funds to nonprofit entities. There is a process, obviously. Typically, it goes through the budget process at that time of year. There have been times in the past when we have done a nonprofit donation during the year, but it's basically a resolution, and of course, there's usually some documentation that they have to turn in that's required by the state, before we can donate those funds. It will probably take a budget amendment at the same time, just because those funds were not budgeted. But, we can work through all of this if the board wants to move in that direction.
But Mr. Vice Mayor, let me mention one thing, and there may be, excuse me, other people who could speak to this, but if my memory serves me, the law with respect to the nonprofit donations requires that they already be 501c3 corporations in order to receive funding from the city. I need to be checked on that, but my understanding is, and the comptroller's office should be able to tell us one way or the other, but if my memory serves, in order to qualify for a grant, that's what this would be. It would be a grant, that they already have to have their 501c3 status, that if they don't, that they wouldn't be eligible for the grant. That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but that's what memory serves. I don't know if anybody else remembers or not.
I know that is one of the groups that we can donate to. I know there's other types of nonprofits that we can donate to, but we'd have to look that up to verify.
Okay. Sounds like we got some homework.
Sounds like we, yeah, sounds like we got some homework, but being we've got Ms. Brown here in front of us, give us a short summation if you get once you get your 501, either with or without us, but once you get your 501, what leverage and where do you go from there to try and get senior housing? And the reason I'm asking this is I ask all the seniors at the senior center today to please be watching tonight so they could learn as well as myself. So.
Again, like we said, we're looking at other models and how they were able to get the seed money to begin the process. And we would look at THDA, we would look at some of the banks. I've already been in contact with some of the banks, Regions Bank, Pinnacle Bank, and they're very interested in supporting this type of activity. Again, like I said, in my experience, and this was actually in Detroit, Michigan, when I worked for HUD for those 7 years, but I was able to package those deals. And I know that we have the skill set within Laverne. We have the skill set with the support that we have from Nashville to put together the project numbers in order to make this happen. So there's funding to do it. There's public funding, there's private funding. We would go to the banks, we would go through foundations, and we would go through THDA to get that funding.
And you need to be a nonprofit in order to.
Yeah, we're going to have that 501c3. But again, let me just say this first of all. It's not so much about the money. I would give $750. The reason I'm coming to the city and coming to the board is because the other housing authorities, even the ones that we're modeling after, is to develop the partnership and the relationship, because we all see that there's a dire need for senior housing in our community. A 2-year waiting list. There's not even people that can even get on a waiting list in Smyrna. There's just a desperate need. So, and none of us can deny that. So I'm saying it's really not about the money. It was about developing the relationship and the partnership. But like I said, if that's the issue, we would get the $750 from probably Regions Bank or any bank. That's not an issue. So it's kind of up to you if you want to do that. And then there's also another option, and I'm sure the city attorney or maybe Bruce can respond to this if you have it in working knowledge, that can the money be funneled through an approved 501c3? Is that a possibility?
Can the money what?
Funneled through.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I don't think there's, I think you'd have to be transparent about that. I don't think you can try to circumvent what the rules require by directing it to another 501c3 if the intent is for the money to wind up someplace it's not supposed to be. So I don't think that would work.
Okay, I'm just saying a lot of times that happen where an approved 501c3 is able to act like as a parent organization. But, you know, like I said, I'll let you all decide if that's something that you want to partner with us to do. But again, we talked about this, and it was more about just developing that partnership, that relationship, because in order for these type of projects to work, we really need a public-private partnership to come together to make this a reality. Can you envision what I'm saying?
I can't speak for the other board members, but myself, I'm 100% on board, but as Evan said, we got to make sure that it's done in such a manner that it doesn't come back to haunt the city or any of that. And then
Exactly.
once we get that homework done, as Mayor Cole said, then, you know, I'd like to see that partnership. I'm a big advocate of senior housing. I want it to happen, and having someone like yourself that is willing to take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and, you know, I think it's a great idea, but the miscommunication that I was under the impression last week with the HUD and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
that's what threw me for a loop, so we won't even discuss that.
Okay.
There's no sense in it. It's water under the bridge. But if we can keep our conversations to senior housing, I'm all in.
Okay, and that's all we want to do, is to build senior housing for the Laverne community. And that's exactly what the charter said, is specifically to provide dwelling accommodations for persons in and around a 10-mile radius of Laverne who are at least 60 years and older. And so, again, that's all our intent is to build senior housing for people here in the Laverne community.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderwoman Haas.
Once again, I'll kind of do what Alderman Waldron does. Remember the pets and the elderly. Make sure you check on everybody. Pets have water, can come inside when it's really hot. Thank the guys that are out mowing and picking up trash that work for the city. They're hot also, and if you see them, offer them in halftime, offer them a bottle of water. They would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Vice Mayor No.
I just got one shout out, and Alderwoman Haas will appreciate this. We now have the Purple Haze at the Senior Center, thanks to Mr. Danny and Infomart. They donated the Wee bowling shirts to all the seniors, and I went down there today, and it was a purple haze. All of them had their purple on. So Danny, as always, can't say enough. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to remind everybody, August 11th, there will be some traffic delays with the Howl at the Moon 5K. If you have not signed up, please do. I've been running it for years. I remember when some of our other board members in the past ran it. Tom Broker.
I'm out of town.
You're good. You're good. I heard Kyle Brown. I heard Kyle Brown's going to run this year.
Oh, yeah.
So
Really?
he's getting ready for baseball season. So, and then we've got the Laverne Carnival, August 24th through 26th. That will be a lot of fun, so bring the kids out. Lastly, I want to ask everyone, please keep in your prayers the Irwin family. Our former mayor lost his son over the weekend, so if you could please keep him and his family in your prayers. With that, call this meeting adjourned.